has the actual draft right now, like he's the one picking the heroes. But when you have someone like Lil join the team, you get like this plethora of experience, and he also can just by himself change the playstyle because we don't know 100% who's making calls in game all the time. And when you get new support players, sometimes they have different ways of thinking and how they want the game to flow and stuff. So maybe his style suits Navi a little bit better than what Roger was, even though he's obviously having great success with VP. Just different strokes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Different strokes. And, well, talking about it, we got ourselves the Razor pick into an ET Abba and then the Rubik. So, Abaddon in the first two, we've been seeing a little bit more of this guy.
Dire team
I don't know, is it in response to the Razor here, or do you think this is just like a strategy that they want to run?
Honestly, I would not really say that Abaddon is really a response to Razor because the hero, like, he doesn't really offer anything against Razor, right? Like, typically, when you play against him, you want mobile heroes who can like break the link, or you want burst damage, or just a truckload of stuns so you can just kill him before he really gets to be that imminent threat in the fight. So I think that they have a plan for what they want the hero to do, rather than picking it just specifically against what Navi have right now.
I'm with you, and it feels like this could be a strong dual lane if they wanted to run that also. We've been seeing more and more of ETs run together with like another offlaner, and you can just deal out a ton of that damage, getting the Astral Spirit combo together, and you hit the hard camp as well as a couple of heroes, and suddenly it's going to be punching for a lot.
Yeah, we could see some dual aggro lane with the ET and the Abaddon for sure. The problem that I see with those kind of strategies, though, is typically when you see it like really early, like they open with it, right? So now Navi have plenty of time to say, okay, obviously that's on the table. What do we want to do to deal with it? And sometimes they'll just sack the lane, or they'll pressure somewhere else on the map and make them split up the two heroes. Because sometimes you're losing two lanes so badly that you don't feel justified in leaving the second hero there, even if you're winning. So Navi, they have some time to adapt to that if it does come out.
Yeah, and if they wanted to, like you say, pressure, Disruptor isn't always thought of as like the strongest support if he gets aggroed also. So it could be an issue, and also Razor incredibly hard to contend with in the laning stage. So we'll have to watch and wait and see. Other bans out, the Broodmother, obviously don't want any of that cheese. At the Tinker, Morpheline, and the PL. Let's see, these all just feel like fairly meta things. The Tinker might be a little bit of a weirder one.
Well, Dendi does play a bit of Tinker. I don't know if he's necessarily played it in the last couple of weeks, but I think that, on their side, they're the underdog. So the last thing you want is when you're the underdog is to get, like, counter-picked or cheesed out because you don't think about a hero when it comes out. You just have nothing to really counter it. So it kind of makes sense. Even though they do have Disruptor, ET and Abaddon are not good against Tinker, like, at all.
Right.
So it still is just like a justifiable ban, and there are also some bans where people just go, I hate playing against these heroes, just ban them anyway.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, you also have this Doom taken now. I've been seeing this as sort of described as like the TB counter, where you take this in the third position because everybody likes taking Terrorblade in the fourth position, and it's kind of like a game of chicken of if you're going to go for it or not. But also, great hero against DP, or any hero really. Doom is just a good spell. And now the Death Prophet picked up as well.
Yeah, Doom's kind of insane. You give him a halfway decent landing phase, or sometimes people even run him as 4, and you can just either bully the other supports, or you can just straight up win the off lane, depending on if you have the good matchup or not. And he can most certainly transition. His biggest problem is that nowadays creeps don't spawn until a minute, which it doesn't sound that bad, but sometimes you're just sitting there and you're like, if I get a bad creep, my early laning phase is just completely gone. So that can be the only part about it that's like sort of a liability. And with the DP pick, the Abaddon now makes a lot more sense. Like there's something that he's trying to protect on the lineup, and something that he wants to be able to frontline for them. So they have a really good amount of peel with the Elder Titan Stomp and the Spirit. They can shield the Death Prophet, keep him alive through the Doom, and then go for the Siege. Because it seems like they're picking this really safe lineup on Radiant. So it's a very straightforward, we're going to run the towers, we're going to pop DP ulti and try to fight you. So it's very like telegraphed what they want to try to do.
Okay. Well, and I like that type of a strategy as well. There aren't a ton of offlane heroes that offer like a good amount of save too. Shadow Fiend is now going to be taken for Navi, so sort of that big damage dealer that they need out of the mid lane, signifying it's also going to be a safe lane Razor. I guess you probably don't want to run Razor against DP. She's got pretty good movement speed and stuff. But last pick now, AA ban.
10 seconds.
Anything
remaining.
that really sticks out to you is either team needing in this draft right now?
5 seconds.
NaVi
remaining.
could use some catch. They are definitely lacking in the starting the fight category. They have less siege potential right now than the Radiant for sure, just because they only really have one dedicated tower hitter, and that's the SF. Razor's, he's okay at it. Doom and Rubik are both terrible. So I mean, if they want to go for the all-in push, they can go that route as well. But personally, I like to have a team when you have these heroes like SF to at least have one hero that can start a fight besides just, you know, walking up to buildings, because it gets really awkward if you don't win that early game. So yeah, there's your catch. It's going to be the standard SF clock. Going to see some souls at the beginning of the game. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Radiant to try to rotate to help, because when the SF starts with souls, you're having a real bad time. Like you can't leave that lane alone, or you need to crush the safe in the off lane.
All right, I gotcha. Yeah, this is the classic combo. We've seen it a billion
5
times.
seconds remaining.
And, well, we'll see what they decide to go for. It is sort of tough because a lot of their heroes don't really find kills in the mid lane early on, I would say, unless he's like way far forward and Disruptor rotates, which seems unlikely. I guess ET Stomp could work as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of the SF pick, though, is because they waited until 4th pick to take it. And they've already revealed both supports on the side of Radiant, so they're confident in the fact that it is going to be hard to rotate on this SF. And because of that, they double down on the SF, not only giving themselves the potential to initiate with the clockwork, but also just the extra boost of being able to get those souls before the first wave. So now it's like, not only would this SF have already been a good pick, barring the clockwork, now it's going to be even harder because he's going to have that extra damage.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, like previously, a couple months ago, people were first picking these two. Now they get them in the last phase. That's crazy. I can understand the AA ban, though, because this is a hero that you kind of, it's really hard to play against as Death Prophet, are able to find him. But regardless, last pick now for SM, and they're looking at most likely for a safe lane hero. Also, do you want to do a little favor and click that open mic tab thing in audio?
Oh, for the in-game. You know what? It's been a minute. That's my bad.
It's all good. Ain't no thing. That's why we're here. You know, we're just getting started. It's 4 in the morning. That's the funny thing about this. You stayed up all night to cast this. I woke up at 4 in the morning. Like, I feel like it just almost ships in the night there. It's
yeah, you messaged me the other day and you're like, hey, can you cast these games? And I'm like, you know what? I am actually awake right now. And that's both awful and amazing at the same time.
Wow, they are really taking their time with this last pick, and it's going to be Avenge.
You may now select your hero.
So they're all inning on the DP thing. My guess is that it's safe lane Venge, and then it's just going to be the classic mid DP into the Shadow Fiend matchup. It's a very all-in style of draft. I think the Venge is a good pick, because if you look at the NaVi draft, the one thing that is actually going to kind of hurt them is physical damage, right? Like Doom, low base armor. You got the Rubik, kind of low base armor. SF is like mediocre. Razor and Clockwork are kind of like mid-tier armor. So you get this Howl, you get the extra physical damage from the Ghosts. You have ET Aura as well on top of that. You're going to get shredded during DP ult. So it's a nice pick. It synergizes with what the lineup is meant to do, which is kind of just like push 5 men around. My primary concern is what are they going to do to deal with the SF?
Yeah, and is he going to be able to dominate that lane the way that we expect him to, as the cogs are going to start to come out now? Dendi, LeBron, and General all hitting away at them. So yeah, we'll watch and wait and see. Lilla's going to be playing position 4 on that Doom, which does mean that it's going to be the Clockwork pretty much set there in the off lane. Is that a strong dual lane as well?
Oh, position 4 Doom's amazing. It's crazy strong. Like, of all the 4 position heroes, he obviously doesn't have any armor, but Infernal Blade is a hell of a skill. It's just super strong. Even at like level 2, if you get Scorched Earth and Infernal Blade, you can man fight pretty much anyone, and they can't really push you away. And that's why it's so good with the Clockwork, because if the Clockwork gets level 3, this even safe lane right now from Radiant is going to suffer.
Ah, and well, it's going to be sort of up to, I guess, then the dual offlane coming from the Radiant to get a lot done, or possibly make that rotation with the ET eventually down bottom as well. But we'll have to see. the number of souls you get there, 12 for the Shadow Fiend. And he's going to be having a nice little time for himself. There is a movement in here from the Clockwork as General wants to go and contest for the rune, and, well, he's going to have to back out. Venge does a lot of damage there.
Yeah, just getting some harassed. I don't know if I would have magic missiled in there, but, you know, just double checking to make sure that he's going to get the 40 gold. Looks like his support's just going to give him the clarity anyway, so no harm, no foul there.
Absolutely. So, moving out now. We have that DP mid and the rotation in from Lil, so it's not even going to be a start of a dual offlane. He's just going to run there and even give the Shadow Fiend a better time, apparently.
Yeah, this is just like salt in the wound, honestly. This guy's sitting mid as Death Prophet right now, and he's going, this SF already has 12 souls, and I'm getting dual lanes. This is it's rough. I mean, to be honest, though, I think that Lil is not really needed here. It's going to be nice to deny like the range creep and stuff and get like that EXP advantage, because then the SF is really going to start like crushing it once he gets 3. But I think Dendi would be perfectly fine in the zone, and Lil actually gets beat down pretty hard because he has no armor here.
Bottom, Clockwork was almost able to catch out that Disruptor as well. A lot of aggression early on here. But yeah, I guess you were talking about it during the draft, and this is the key cornerstone of their lineup is going to be this Death Prophet. So I guess in that way it also makes some amount of sense wanting to just do everything you can to shut her down.
It does make sense. I mean, the thing about DP, though, is you kind of get your 1 or 2 core items, your survivability item, your Yules, you know, whatever choice you decide to go for. And then you kind of just pop Ghosts and walk the tower. You can do that with, like, Venge core and the Abaddon a lot easier than you would be able to in a lot of lineups. So even though he's going to struggle in this lane, obviously, they can still recover by doing some 5-man Dota.
Okay. Well, pull back in the top lane. They're just stealing away some of that from ET. Throw an Aphotic Shield on him and then back out. As First Blood missed in the bottom lane. Holy Toledo. Let's take that fella down.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, a lot of people underestimate Disruptor's early game damage. Thunderstrike is crazy strong. It's actually 160 magic damage at level 1. It's like one of the highest damaging like level 1 spells for position 5.
This is my least favorite thing about playing offlane nowadays. It's just a Disruptor coming up and Thunderstriking me over and over and over again. And I sit there, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
It feels pretty bad. It's almost like getting Queen Dagger, you know? It's the thing that just hurts your soul. Top lane too? Okay, they're not going to be able to kill him, never mind. I forgot it was an Abaddon Elder Titan lane against a Razor, and then I was just like, that just doesn't do anything.
Lil's going to come in and, well, I guess maybe try and make some type of rotation here and find something? He's underneath the ward now, so they do see this, but can they react in time? A lot of damage stolen away from this Abba, and the Stomp, the hit again, he backs out and he's fine.
Yeah, these lanes from NaVi are really strong. Even with the kill, on general, it's if you look at the mid matchup, like obviously a lot of the denies are bloated because of cogs. Then kind of low. Ooh, had to Fairy Fire. I'll be fine though. This is one of those situations where your lanes are actually just top and mid are definitely losing, and bottom is like your salvation right now.
Right now, still only the 12 souls because he's only got that 1-point Necromaster. And I guess that's the one thing about the change that we saw to the SF Clockwork is since you want the points in raised, you're not getting as quick of an advantage as you would have had before after the first wave or so. So
it's also because Lil was mid. Like he's mid again. He's kind of soaking EXP at this point. Obviously, it's going to help him deal a little bit of damage to the tower because they got the double range creep, but all the DP has to really do is get one auto and he'll pull everything back. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's still level 3 on the Doom, so even though he's kind of moving around a lot, he's still getting his EXP.
Well, meanwhile, still pull going out. They're trying to find this ET and see if they can take him down. The Stomp, it's not going to connect. Still stealing damage. LeBron going to give him one more hit on his backside as they head out.
Yeah, this is a real rough go. We're gonna have to wait and see until like the early mid game where the DP starts to decide if she wants to TP somewhere and pop that exorcism before we see any like real fights going on, because there's just not enough lockdown on Radiant right now to really secure a kill. Maybe if the Disruptor hits like 4 or 5, they can go for a kill on mid or something.
Man. Yeah, we'll watch for that rotation that could come out, and of course it's also predicated upon Dendi being in maybe a little bit of a bad position. Which we haven't really seen as of yet. Well, General going to be found again, and no points in glimpse, so he is not going to get caught by that wall.
Yeah, that's interesting. He doubled up on the Thunderstrike. I thought he was holding his skill point, but maybe he thought that he was going to be able to get the magic missile off and actually get the kill.
Net mid. Find one. There's still raindrops there. A lot of HP on that DP. Keep her alive. Yeah, it's been a lot of like this Lil running around. He's still gotten that experience though, as you mentioned, and has Tranquil boots already there. And this is that. Is it called the China Doom back in the day? Or you just run around a position 4 with Tranquils?
Yeah, China Doom was you pretty much ran around and got level 2 and then walked mid with Scorched Earth and an Orb of Venom and just ran at the enemy mid like over and over again. That was the China Doom. It was insanely strong too, because that was like pre-nerf Scorched Earth. It was crazy.
Not as good anymore, I guess, also because you don't get the armor from Tranquils anymore. But regardless, they're finding one in the top as well. Yeah, Nune caught. Is they going to be able to find that kill? It is going to happen. While top lane, they also take down the Abba. This
is a pretty feels bad man laning phase, honestly. This Clockwork's already level 5. He's more than halfway to level 6 right now. The Abba is level 4 and the ET is 3. Like, this Clockwork's gonna have hook in the next like minute or so. And it's real bad.
General's having a hell of a game, despite that early death. I mean, that's the thing too, is nowadays it doesn't really matter if you die once or twice on the offlane, as long as you get those levels. I guess that's kind of always been the case. Top lane, they're pushing though. We do have Lil in the area behind the tower. He has a shockwave available. LeBron moving in. They have a lift, but not going to go for it, because it looks like they're just going to fully commit for this tower.
Yeah, they got the cart wave, so they want to try to get as much damage in as they can. They know the supports are really weak right now, so there's not really a whole lot of rotation potential just due to the heroes that Radiant have currently, so they're going to get a lot of damage here.
Back in the ET. Not going to get it, though. But yeah, a good decision right there to pull the creep wave past. That keeps the tower alive for now. And meanwhile, we'll see if Radiant can do anything with their cart. Seems unlikely.
Yeah, there's not enough creeps here. Like, General's even auto-attacking the wave. Like, he knows that sometimes you're going to get that pressure out when you get the double wave, which is basically what NaVi did to the offlane tier 1, but they couldn't get enough creeps in the lane to get it the way they wanted. And honestly, they need to be careful down here, because if that Clockwork hooks and there's 1 TP from NaVi, they could lose a hero.
Smoke up now, in towards mid. These supports, pretty high level. They have level 6 right now on DP, but now a little bit too far forward. They find the lift, gonna be able to get the raise. The second one, the third, he's gone in an instant.
Yeah, this is a rough go. This DP is being almost doubled up on CS. And that's the thing, like, who can rotate for him? Like, who's gonna be able, besides, like, I guess maybe the Elder Titan is the only hero that can really stop that? And the problem with Elder Titan, like TP reaction, is that it takes a lot of time because the Stomp has a channel time too. Yeah. So you're taking into account the TP and the Stomp together. That's at least like 5 or 6 seconds before you're going to get a save.
And look at this Disruptor. He's just getting ran at. They don't really have a great answer to this. Clockwork moving in. General thought about going for that hook, but they're rotating in the DP as well. Maybe they can find some type of a turnaround here. The swap back, and General just hooks away.
What a player. That was really nice.
They have Glimpse available, but it's only level 1 right now, and Lil is just going to keep running away from these guys. They're not going to find anything for this.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They even spotted the triple stack of the large camp bottom too. Wouldn't be surprised to see with the arcane rune on Dendi. Maybe he doesn't have enough time. I was going to say, I would like to see him go kill that stack. You can see LeBron's pinging out too. He wants to try to make his way over there, but they could steal the stack, they could push mid. Like, the options for NaVi right now are pretty endless.
Top tower is under attack.
This is definitely one of those feel bad men. I mean, you did mention earlier, though, that the sort of salvation you eventually find is the 5-man Dota. Is that something they can still rely upon?
I mean, that's what they're going to have to rely on, because that's how they get kills. Like, they need so many heroes in the same spot to be able to get a kill on anyone on the side of NaVi at this point. So the big thing is, like, the Disruptor getting 6. Like, if he gets 6, then they can really start to try to get kills, because he'll have more points in a Glimpse. I think he's kicking himself for the second point in the Thunderstrike, because level 1 Glimpse just does not really do that much. Top lane?
Now they're trying to wrap around now on Crystallize, and with the Stomp and the rotations, they're going to be able to find their first kill in a while, and it's a big one.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's getting a little bit overzealous, just sitting in front of the tower, and he might have assumed that there were more points into Glimpse on the Disruptor than he even has, because at that stage he only really had one. He just got the second point now. I think he might have actually been able to just walk away from that one, but ends up going down there.
Well, and in spite of, losing a couple of these lanes fairly hard, you still do have not that significant of a net worth lead. Granted, it's 10 minutes, 1,000 gold means a lot at this point, but things are not going completely... It's not all falling off the rails yet.
Nah, I mean, like you said, they got some good team fight. It's mainly just the mid lane that really suffered, just because of the cog start and Radiant's inability to really salvage mid for them. So they kind of all in on their side lanes, hoping that they would be able to get enough. And you're right, there's only a 1k lead, but Navi making a move now. See if this bench gets caught. He does not have. He has a lane ward, but he doesn't have vision the way that Navi ran in from.
They're all around this Venge here, and one clockwork flare will spot out the movements. There is still this rotation over a smoke right now. Level 6 on the Disruptor. They're looking for an opening. They're able to find Lil. Are they going to go for this? The glimpse back in the field, but they're not going to drop the Static Storm yet. This could end up turning into more if the rest of Navi stick around for too long, and Lil, he's going to go down here, right? Okay, they get the kill.
I think they saw that smoke too on Navi. Lil was sitting in the tree line there to break the smoke, but really nice reaction from the ET, just like instantly throwing the Spirit into the tree line.
Oh, and now mid lane, they found the DP, the silence there, making sure that there won't be any raises. Static Storm as well. Are they going to be able to find anything from this? The Rubik is caught, and actually he's just going to walk away. General does look like he is going to die. Maybe not, he's going to walk into the creeps. They deny him.
Their General is like the god of escapes. Twice in a row this game, he denies the kill to the Radiant. That was very nicely done.
And now, 11 and a half minutes into it, and they need those kills to get back into it. Very much so. But they are going to start to pressure this other tower now. DP did substantial damage to the mid-tier one as well.
Yeah, given how bad two of their lanes went, they're making really good moves. We had the Elder Titan play that resulted in the kill on the Doom. And then a really nice reaction on mid as well. They're going to pop the Abba ulti here. He's just going to go ahead and walk it off. They have great vision on the bottom side of the map, so you can see like Navi kind of converging right now. They really want this safe lane tier 1, and they know that Exorcism is down. So the likelihood that they're going to get any sort of defense against this is pretty low.
And pressuring for those towers. First step, try to establish dominance in the Radiant jungle.
I was gonna say, they're actually splitting up. I'm surprised to see them not like all together. General's kind of like sitting between mid and safe to find out like where his kill is. Like whoever shows up, because they have the lane ward bottom, right? So if anyone TPs there, they'll see it, and they can get the kill there. And then likewise for mid, Dendi's still farming, so they have their 2 cores in both the lanes at the same time. Just a little bit of nice efficiency here.
Although they are going to be able to glimpse back in Static Storm. Razor DC?
Okay, so General's definitely going to hook. The question is, who does he hook? If he hooks the Venge swaps herself out. So maybe he just goes for the Disruptor instead, because he's going to hook one or the other. Or maybe he hooks the Venge to try to stop the stun.
Oh, he doesn't hook anybody! But they're not going to be able to find that kill anyways. And now the rotation's coming in. General there as well. Everybody here in the mid lane right now for the Radiant. Can they turn this? Can they find anybody at all? Looks like they might get one, but it is only the Rubik. And LeBron will fall, but they still end up popping Sashla's ulti.
Well, they do end up picking up position 5, which is like okay. They should be able to turn this into a pretty easy tower, but in the meantime, they lose their safe lane tower. So Crystallize, not TPing, just wants to go for the guaranteed play there. And, that was a pretty big reaction from the Radiant, so they get a tower. But, on the bright side for them, hey, man, Ghosts are up. Let's go push top.
Yeah, for only expending the Static Storm, that's a great pickup for the Radiant team. And now, Dire are going to need to figure out the way that they want to transition this, what was a very good early laning phase into something else. Crystallize is going for Yule's first on Razor.
It's a very interesting choice. I saw him pick up the Staff of Wizardry earlier, and I kind of thought it would just be like a force. But yeah, he goes for the Yules. It's mana regen. It's kind of nice. It's probably enough mana regen, honestly, for Razor to never even need to buy a Clarity, because his spells are pretty low mana cost.
Yeah.
But as far as its usefulness, I think the only thing that really stands out is the fact that you can just Yules someone who's TPing away or break like a silence or something, because Glimpse will just straight up pull you out of Yules.
Right.
And Yulesing yourself can set up for ET Stomp, and like Yulesing yourself in a Static Storm only delays damage for a little bit, and if that's what you wanted, why not just buy like a Hood or something, right? So
Yeah.
I guess it's just for the regen and the potential to stop TPs.
I guess also maybe, as you talked about the Stomp, if he sees the Stomp coming in but can't get away from it, maybe.
Yeah, but a Force would do that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, God. Doom there onto Abba. They got him caught. He does get the ulti pop, so he's going to be regenning this slowly, and Glimpse is going to be here as well. If they got Vision onto Lil, pull him back in. And it's, ready to be dropped down. They didn't even need it. And Abba lives through the Doom.
So we mentioned the whole 5-man Dota thing. You notice how SM is literally as 5. Like every time Navi poke their head on the map, boom, 5 heroes. Like that's actually how they're staying in the game, because they're just being met everywhere they go, Navi, by overwhelming force of heroes. And Navi have yet to really do that 5-man, you know?
I guess simultaneously, though, in spite of it, the lead has grown to 2,000 net worth, even though they've been finding those kills. As the Clockwork hook shots in, and now they're going to be able to find themselves the ET. Can they bring them down in time? Looks like the answer is going to be yes. They won't find any more here, though, as Yume is running away. Oh, no, swap back in. All right, are they trying to fight this one? They have Static Storm available as well. The rest of the Radiant shows up here. If they can get Vision, they might be able to find a glimpse. They do, and they pull back in Crystallize. There's going to be the catch with the kinetic field, and Crystallize is going to go down as well.
Yeah. I mean, but look at Navi's positioning again. They got a hero mid, they got a hero top. So they're 4 and 5 are farming side lanes, and they brought 2 cores and a Clockwork bottom, and then they got met with 5 heroes again.
Right.
So it's okay to do that when like 2 of the 3 heroes that die are supports, but you just lost both your core heroes. That's not really that good. Like the whole premise of playing against 5-man Dota is that sure, you push the side lanes, but you push the side lanes with core heroes, not supports, because the core heroes are the ones who actually need the farm to be able to live. And if you're sacking your cores whenever you're pushing the side lanes, what's going to happen is pretty much what's happening right now, is that your cores are going to start to lose momentum, and then the 5-man Dota is going to kick in with DP, and it's actually quite difficult to fight into it.
It feels like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too a little bit, right? Like they're trying to find pickoffs while simultaneously trying to, split push, and that's sort of what you're supposed to do, but now you're going to end up losing out on a lot of that stuff you're talking about. It is going to be a 4-man rotation now coming in from NaVi, seeing if they can find anybody, but nobody is home.
I mean, obviously NaVi are still leading in the gold department for the time being, but they need to be very careful about like giving away too many kills like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine line, You get a little bit cocky, it's like, oh yeah, we had a great lane phase, and it's going to be hard for us to lose this game. And then you make a handful of mistakes, and that's all it takes, right?
Yeah.
It's still Dota, even if you're underestimating your opponent, which I'm not sure if that's the case for NaVi, but it feels like their movement so far has been a little greedy, I guess is how I would say.
Yeah, and Disruptor's that hero that punishes greed, which he has been able to do very, very well so far. So we'll still have to watch and wait. You do have Crystallize pushing out towards mid. The Doom is nearby to make sure he's all fine and dandy, while Dendy is going to push bottom, building towards that BKB. And as
yeah,
far
the BKB is solid, but the one concern again is the armor thing, right? So you're building this BKB and Dragonlance on SF, which is a pretty standard build, like nothing totally crazy. But he's still going to have to worry about like the sheer amount of damage that goes through the auto attacks, ET aura. It's still not easy for him to just stand in a team fight and channel a Requiem if he doesn't have the proper protection.
And that's the thing that, they kind of need to be able to do against this 5-man Dota, because eventually this is going to be hitting towards their other towers. That being said, the Radiant really haven't been able to push past those tier 1s yet. It is going to be a rotation top now from NaVi as they look to defend and maybe punish Sashlo's very far forward position, but he is going to back again. Does have that blink dagger too for a more effective escape. The hook shot comes in, got him caught here. He can blink away in a second and maybe go for the TP out, and it looks like they're going to be able to get him. Interrupted, gone and dead.
Yeah, that was a nice attempt. That's the age-old buy blink so you can never actually kill me if I have my ultimate build. It works really well with like Radiance Shiva's builds, because you just go in and then You pop your ulti, do a ton of damage, and then blink away. Oh, nice catch here on a Crystallize.
Saving that Static Storm as well. They want to go for it. The Yule Scepter working, and actually it ends up getting him out of there, but not for long as the Static Storm still chasing in the post. Everything else, he's getting healed up actually. Razor's going to live through it. And now Radiant, maybe they've gone a little bit too far as they're going to be able to find this. The Abba ulti used from the Rubik as well, so he can stand in front of everybody. BKB pop for Dindy is he's going to try and chase this down. It looks like Venge will escape, but DP will not. And the Stomp interrupted as well. 3 dead. Dendy finding it all.
That would have been a lot better if they had gotten the Razor at the beginning of the fight. I guess the Yules it worked, you know? Dodged the spell. That's the thing about ET Stomp, is it's not one of those spells where you can like cancel cast it. It's once you start the channel, you are fully committed. Yeah. And it will go on cooldown regardless, so it paid for itself right there.
Yeah, definitely. Now you're left in that like weird chicken moment, I guess, where you're like, all right, do I use it now or do I wait for him to use the Yules first? But regardless, it's 20 minutes in, and NaVi, after that fight, are with a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, they were farming a bit better the whole time. Gonna see a bit of a catch here on a general. Not sure if they want to commit to this.
A little bit awkward. They're also chasing on the other. Nice hook away, but the Glimpse is going to pull him back in, and LeBron shows up. Maybe think about turning that onto Disruptor. The other side of the fight, Dendy ends up being brought down. Now General is caught, and they bring down any of these other heroes. Crystallize turning, wanting to find something, but unable to Yules away from that one. Still on cooldown. The long duration stomp, the right clicks, the magic missile. They find the kill. NaVi again going to be punished. They're just fully committing right here for the kill on the ET, but he's not even going to go down.
This is certainly some CIS Dota we're witnessing right here. Not even a question in my mind. These players want blood. That is all they care about. I mean, that was a very interesting series of events. Like, there's a small skirmish going on. General gets caught like over to the right-hand side by the ward spot near the tier 2 mid, and they're like trying to push top at the same time with 3 heroes, and I don't even. That was a strange fight. I feel like NaVi like clearly overstayed their welcome because they didn't have BKB on SF, and the Abaddon was back up with ulti again. So I'm a little confused as to why they committed so hard, but
I'm with you. It's dubious, questionable, but it's what makes them NaVi. It's what makes them CIS Dota for sure. Well,
I mean, they're still in the lead.
Yeah.
So until it really gets bad, you can't like. You can certainly say that maybe there was a better play, but at the same time, they're winning. So
yeah, nothing to do. Well, Crystallize shows up again here, top to try and defend the towers. As far as like structural damage goes, and I guess the other question I want to ask is, you said that this is kind of an all-in on the DP, taking down towers. Is it concerning at all to you that like all these tier 2s are still standing? How bad is that for the Radiant?
I mean, you definitely don't want to be the DP lineup that has to continually use Exorcism just to fight, especially when your high ground kind of relies on that spell, and, you know, Venge isn't really the best tier 3 siege hero. But, you know, I'd say they got another good 10-15 minutes before they really got to start to worry about, like, okay, can we ever actually break the high ground? Okay.
And in the meantime, it's going to be continued smoke ganks looking for pickoffs. And guess who it is? Mr. Dendy. They've got vision. They do have Glimpse as well, ready to use. And he's going to have to pop the BKB, force staff away, charge down.
Yeah, that's actually the full pike too. So he's got a siege item, which is pretty much all you need to really hit towers on that hero. And now it's kind of just posturing, see who can get a good team fight. Maybe one team goes for Roche. I know that NaVi has that Solar Crest coming out soon. Lil's about 200 away, finishing it up. That means after that next team fight that NaVi win, Roche is very, very easily attainable. Same thing for Radiant, though. They have that Howl of Terror, or Wave of Terror? Howl, Wave, whichever. Something of Terror. They have that spell.
It's terrible. Yeah, I'm with you. It's looking like they actually want to go for that with the BKB down for Dendy. They feel confident in this. Scary though, General moving over. He's in their area, gonna maybe look for a hook initiation. They do see that the ghosts are there as well. And they go for this fight. Meanwhile, Doom is up there to the north, and Roche falling down lower. Thinking about going in for it, ends up hooking over to the side of it instead. And are they trying to take this fight with the Aegis already there? They drop down the Static Storm. It's there onto Razor as well. General is going to be able to walk away from this one, still alive. So far, the Disruptor is dead, and they've already had to use the Aegis. Maybe more? They're looking to chase this, but no glimpse, obviously, on the Dire to be able to find any type of initiation. Crystallize on the low ground, gets the Eul Scepter, the turnaround. Denny gonna pop BKB. Requiem comes out. It's not really doing all that much damage, though. And still walking forward for the Venge, the Shadow Blade to get away. They're not gonna catch him the cogs. And it looks like, with that, the fight ends.
It was a nice rotation from SM to go for the Roche, because they force the SF BKB and they say, okay, if they fight us with that SF BKB, we can win. Unfortunately, that assessment was not correct, because they lost the Aegis like immediately, and that kind of hurts them, because that's part of the thing that lets you do a timing push. You know, you get an Aegis on your core, you get the next Exorcism, you push tier 2s. You know, that would have been really nice for their game plan if they were able to like retain that advantage before pushing again. But NaVi deny him the capability. And now the Solar Crest is complete on Lil. So that armor problem that we were talking about, he's got that toughness aura from the Wildkin, so he's got 3 armor. And then he can Solar Crest and Buckler on top of that. So that's, 15 armor in total on the person that he chooses, and some evasion too.
Yeah, and plus a little bit for the entire team too for the Ghosts. It's real nice, definitely. And I guess you could think about like maybe building into an AC for one of these other guys in the near future. Although maybe they don't have to. We'll have to watch and see how they end up building it. As far as like, you know, the timing that you're talking about, a timing push, do Radiant still need to get stuff done in spite of losing that Aegis now? Like, do they need to pressure a tower?
I think whenever they have ult, they should be pressuring something. I don't think you can let NaVi just run around and farm, because they have this really strong position 4 hero, and Doom, he kind of carries a lot of different items well. And Lil's itemization this game, I think, has been pretty on point with what his team needs. So the later it goes, I think the more difficult it will become.
And Crystallize shows up top just to keep that tier 2 tower alive, and well, this is becoming harder and harder to deal with. They have 5 heroes moving up to the north for the Radiant. As far as TP status goes, everybody else on the Dire team has one ready if they want to defend this, but maybe they'll just go for the split instead.
It's a dangerous game for both teams, right? Because they're not going to commit Exorcism to this tier 2. They're just going to kill it because it's already low.
Right.
And you know, you save yourself the opportunity of being able to defend, and if you want to try to threaten high ground, you actually have the tool to do it now. And you got that over frost armor creep as well. So yeah, they're gonna, looks like they're just gonna try to go for it, or they're just gonna hesitate.
That's scary.
It's a hard decision to make, honestly, because if you mess up the push, you're in a really bad spot. But yeah, they're gonna go ahead and back off.
Look at the tier 3 tower in bottom. Like, while that was all going on, they realized SF was pushing really heavily, and it's down 1,000 HP because of it.
Yeah, it happens to teams sometimes. You get hesitant, and if you want to commit, and the more time you waste, the more damage that you take on your buildings, and it can cost you. So when that tier 3 drops, you know, shrines open up. If they do that one more time, that tower is dead.
Right.
So they need to be much more, I guess, decisive with how they want to do things. They are smoked up real close to Lil, though. Didn't break the smoke yet.
There's the glimpse, pulls him back in, able to find that stomp. Now the rest of the Dire thinking about going away because they do not want to get caught. There's a quick turn there, thinking about fighting, but realize that's not the play. Exorcism is back up again. So, or rather, they didn't use it top, so they're going to
they didn't pop it. So what they did was they TP'd a hero or 2 back. They pushed out the lane a bit. They made sure that the SF had left bottom, and then they insta-smoked as 4 or 5 and ran across the map to get a quick pick into a tower push. That was actually very clean and a well-done rotation here from SF.
Yeah, and now they're pushing forward to tier 3 in the mid lane. They forced out the glyph. The rotation from the SF could come in as well, but need to find an opening here, which is not easy against so much damage. So the siege is coming in from the Radiant. How do they defend against this? More plasma spam. They pull back in Sashlo for the moment. Hook shot into the back lines. Nice play by General. He's able to get the push back, but then going to be pushed away afterwards as well. And the blink out from Abba, maybe going to be able to find a chase here. He's got minus armor, and it looks like he is going to fall. But the rest of the Dire, or rather Radiant, backing away and getting out.
That was a nice little isolation play there from General. Kind of kicks things off. Definitely a very, very good pick this game, the Clockwork. He's been doing a lot of work, not only in just allowing Dendy to pretty much win his lane for free, but and his hook initiations and his escapes have been very impressive. I don't really think I ever see him have a bad game, to be honest. Like, it's very few and far between, you know? He's a very consistent performer.
Yeah, and he always feels like he plays on those initiators. The Bat Rider, the Clockwork, Beastmaster. Those are his types of heroes. NaVi, bottom lane, will get a little slept, but now the siege is coming from them, knowing Exorcism's still on cooldown. It's about a minute. So NaVi hitting the tower. They're able to find a stun. He does still have BKB and Force Staff away as well. A silence onto 3 as they're still thinking about chasing. Disruptor has Glimpse available. Is going to pull back in 1. That's a kill onto LeBron. The Earth Splitter connects onto Lil. NaVi realizing that it might be a bit too far for them. They actually dropped the ward up on the high ground as well. So now they see everybody. The Abba's in the midst of them. He needs to run away as well. They have another glimpse in 1 second if they want to go for it, trying to maintain that vision with the ET. It's just right outside the range and isn't able to find anybody there. So they're looking, chasing, but not finding.
Well, they forced them back, not having to... That's like the best thing about, or the best feeling when you're playing Death Prophet is not having to pop your ulti to defend your base.
Yeah.
Because whenever you pop it to defend your base, clearly you can't push. So that then you're just stuck in a situation where you're waiting, you know, that 145-second cooldown every single time, and it just feels bad to not be able to pressure with it. So nice that they didn't really give anything away there. The tier 3 took a little bit more damage, but ultimately I think that the SM are still feeling pretty okay with the situation. It's a very close game at the moment. I think next Roche is going to be pretty indicative of who takes the lead here.
Okay. And I guess you can try and maybe get some, maybe the tier 2 bottom eventually if you're Radiant, but it could be tough. The thing I was just noticing as well, that Eul Scepter build with the Razor, he's moving around pretty swift. 518 movement speed.
Yeah, he didn't even take the unstable current move speed either. He just took the static link. He'd be even faster if he had the other talent, but you know, 518 is probably enough.
Absolutely. Well, everybody grouping together right now, maybe thinking about going for a smoke as 4. They show Dendy in the mid lane. The rotation bottom, as they're going to try and push out this lane and force somebody to rotate, and then they'll go for the kill for them. We'll see if anybody shows up, though.
This is also a smoke that could be very easily be used to establish vision as well. Like, they moved the heroes up in front to get the wards down. So they just placed a ward pretty much on top of where the warding was from SM. And now they're going to go ahead and show their SF who is already pushing the lane, and then, yeah, full TP back from SM to go for the defense.
Abba has the TP as well, so he can get into this fight if they need to, but the DD is there, and the pressure going to be mounted. They take down the tower. Now retreating. The scary part is that they don't realize that other ward is right behind him, but it's not going to end up mattering, it looks like, as NaVi just back away, and as you mentioned earlier, go for those shrines.
It's very nice to get that tier 3 because it cuts off like specific quick rotations that SM can make. So like if you're doing that same movement that NaVi just made and they have their shrine up and you're not paying attention, you get flanked by TPs and stuff. It can be really annoying. And it also is good for like grouping up to smoke because it's very easy to deward. So nice little benefit there for NaVi. Roche gonna be up real soon, about 2 minutes.
Yep.
And honestly, if I were Radiant, I would probably try to force the last tier 2 because it's already low before Roche, because then you have time to recoup the ulti, but they do have to worry about the lane push. And that's actually something that I should have hit on a bit earlier, just in regards to how easy it is for SM to keep up with how quickly NaVi can shove lanes. Because they have the Razor, they have the SF, even Clockwork Flare. People don't think about it a lot, but he can do it from across the map. Yeah. So lane equilibrium of the lanes is going to become more and more of a problem for this team because they just don't have a lot of heroes that kill the creeps.
High ground, so General gets away as that rotation came in, as Revenge still looking for an opening onto somebody. General still hiding out in the trees. Are they thinking about taking this fight? They spot him! Oh, they get visioned! Did they? Hook shot in, push back, they're able to catch now onto 1, the Blink Fortified Shield, keeping alive that Abaddon, and there's the Requiem. They're actually able to swap it, interrupt it, but now can he get it onto anybody else? It doesn't look like a BKB pop. Ben's doing a ton of damage. They take down that Rubik, and now looking for more Crystallize, trying to bring down this Disruptor. He does already have used Static Storm, and that's going to be ET falling here as well. A triple kill for Crystallize. Sashlo also getting ran down here. They have Cogs back up in 2 seconds as he tries to hide in the trees. It was never going to be enough, though, as they chase him down and most likely kill him off. 5 dead. NaVi strike back in a big way.
Oh, that was a brutal initiation from NaVi. They get a hook on a hero at the same time as Lil blinks in the back and gets a doom on the DP with an Inferno Blade. Like, he just absolutely melted. There's not really much you can do about it either, because the support heroes don't have a save item yet, and the Abaddon was kind of off on the other side of the fight, so it was very like discombobulated from SM. They didn't have the heroes in position to save the Death Prophet. So as soon as she dies, fight is 100% over. There is no recoup, especially since he popped Exorcism. So it's that's like the ideal engagement for NaVi. They get the most important hero dead immediately, and no one on his team can save him. He's just 100% dead to rights.
And that's usually, like, again, I mean, it doesn't matter if you get doomed, it's just going to be over anyways. But normally you have these other type of save heroes in the lineup, like an Oracle or a Dazzle or something else. Not that that would have necessarily solved the problem, but, you know, you also have this, like, Lotus Orb on the Abba, hoping to maybe turn that against him. And this feels fairly desperate right here from the Radiant, going in for a Roche, as they're just going to have to back out. They realize with Vision they can't do it.
Well, they can't really do it, but as long as the ET's alive and they have ghosts, they can also stop NaVi from doing it.
Right.
Because there's no way they're just going to casually walk in the pit against Elder Titan. It's way, way too scary. But, you know, going back to the whole state, okay, they really are all inning this. I mean, they do not... Look at the wording from NaVi. They have sentries literally on every single ramp, and they absolutely know this is happening, but apparently they're not going to get there in time.
Wow. Well, ghosts used, so they managed to find something. It works.
I mean, that is just like, that is a very ballsy play. But yeah, it worked out. So, you know, power to him.
Hey. All right. So we talked about the Doom on the Death Prophet being one of the top things. Is there any other like big moments that we need to watch out for as far as like things that have to happen for Radiant to win a fight? How do they win a fight?
They just need to protect the DP. That's it. Like when they got crushed off, it's because, you know, Shatchlo and the Venge weren't around to protect them. Like the Lotus Orb taking off the Infernal Blade mitigates a ton of the damage. You put a Photic Shield on the DP and a Mist Coil, and that Doom doesn't feel so strong anymore. I think that's a large reason why they wanted to pick these two heroes in conjunction, because Abba is great at keeping that hero alive, especially because you can remove, you know, not that they have any, but silences and all that other stuff. You get your Soul Siphon off. Maybe you get lucky and Lotus to Doom, and then he dooms himself. There's a lot of stuff you can do. It's just that the positioning of the team fight was really rough.
Ooh, barely. Disruptor there dodging the hook and is able to escape. So they keep alive that Disruptor. Not the biggest deal in the world. And again, we're back to the situation where waiting for a DP ultimate to come offline, lanes to be pushed out, and then maybe a final hurrah for the Radiant to see if they can get something done. To me, at least, this feels like if you don't hit this timing, everything else falls apart at this point forward. 9,000 net worth lead for NaVi, and they're getting into the items to deal with every hero for the Radiant.
Yeah, the next fight needs to be a very swift victory for SM if they want to maintain any sort of foothold in this game. At the moment, NaVi are just, they're more farmed on their cores by a pretty wide margin. You know, the itemization on everyone on NaVi has been, you know, minus the Yules, which I thought was a little bit strange. It still worked, and, you know, now he's got the AC, the SNY, BKB, so Crystallize is crazy strong. Just, yeah, everything on NaVi seemingly coming together at the moment. And you can see how tentative the SM even are to just freaking leave their side of the map. They're really, really scared. And just, it's like the map has chicken pox. If you look at how many freaking sentries there are everywhere. Like, this is the hallmark of good supports and making sure that you maintain that map control. That's what you do. People in pubs who say, I don't want to buy, you know, more than a couple sentries. No, you buy like 100 damn sentries and you place them everywhere. Vision is super important.
Yeah, and then they can also see, like, if the Venge happens to run by one of them, you could potentially take it down and just destroy all that momentum. There are a couple of wards around the map right now for the Radiant, but they're not really in a position where it's scouting out much of the Dire, and Little Scepter again. Razor is not going to get initiated upon. And with that, it looks like it's instead going to be the Disruptor that goes down, and Dendy still hitting away at them here as he got initiated on, but they did not know what they were coming after as more go in their direction. The stomp, they're able to find the Venge. Oh god, they don't hit the hook shot though. With the Cogs push back onto 2, and now that's going to be ET dead. Most likely this Venge is going to die a second time. Popping that ulti, but the BKB comes out. Now the walk away, and the Static Storm it down, but it doesn't really catch on to absolutely anybody at all. And looking for a follow-up here. Dendy's starting to fall down low. They get the Doom on DP. She did get her Ghosts off though, and as you mentioned, that Aphotic Shield is there to keep her alive. But now NaVi can just back out. They just run away. Crystallize? Oh, they get the swap. So they do get 1 kill there on the Razor after taking down the Rubik. But the rest of NaVi running away and looking like they should be able to get out of there. Yule Scepter? General, still trying to live. Has his own Yules and just walking away.
Yeah, that's... I mean, the fight obviously was a little bit more awkward for NaVi that time around just because the initiation was Bendy getting caught. But you see the effect of when the Infernal Blade goes off, if you just throw the shield on him, it's not just that you're blocking 200 damage, it's that you're stopping 20% of the DP's max health from being taken away, in addition to giving him that shield too. That's why it's so important for the Abbot to be there. You either need to Lotus the DP, or you need to shield her, otherwise that Infernal Blade is just going to eat you alive. And that's what makes the position for Doom, if you look at, you know, Radiant's lineup, it's almost like a single core, right? Like, sure, Venge has some items, she does some right-click damage, but it's all physical. So if you look at the itemization on NaVi, they got the Butterfly on Dendi, they got the AC on Crystallize, they got the Solar Crest on Lil, and at one point he was even debating going for Crimson. So they understand that all we really need is armor and some maybe damage block on someone, and then the Venge really isn't going to be that much of a threat. So with that in mind, you just really got to keep that DP alive, like now more than ever.
Well, and Venge, oh, I'm getting a little bit of lag. You still there with me?
Yeah, I'm lagging too.
All
they
right.
paused. It's the server, I think.
Okay. Well, a couple things to watch out for too that's coming up right now. Disruptor has been able to finagle himself into an Aghanim Scepter. So that's pretty big. And I feel like that's one of those items that changes the complexion of how these team fights are going to go.
It absolutely is, 100%, because you can't, obviously, you know, you can't BKB, you can't Yules, all that stuff. The issue is that getting the catch first, right? So, like, how do they get the initiation? It has to be a stomp, or it has to be like a glimpse into a Static Storm. And the heroes that he wants to catch with those types of openings still have BKB. So it is great. Even the Doom has a freaking BKB at this point. But yeah, it is great, but it's going to be really hard for them to get an ideal opening with it.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to need to be maybe one of those things where the fight starts to get all wonky and crazy, and then you find like a stomp after maybe a BKB is down or something. But I guess that sort of begs the question, if the BKB has already been used, then how much extra use is that Static Storm? I guess still some. They hit on the scan right there as the Radiant is moving up through the jungle and finding nobody. All of Dire is down bottom, and it looks like they're not going to be able to find anything there. It's also an MKB on Venge, I guess, to deal with that SF, and she does hit pretty freaking hard.
Yeah, the damage on Venge has always been really high from the core position, without a doubt. It's more just about, you know, is it enough? You know, it's a medium range hero. You only have 400 attack range, so you're not really like full-fledged 600 range hero. So it doesn't feel really good to have to like walk in close against heroes like Razor and Doom and Clockwork. I think it's a bit of a struggle, and obviously at this point in the game, SM would have liked to have been farther ahead, but they're playing on the back foot. And that's when these types of lineups start to really feel awkward, because you're always popping your ultis to defend instead of push.
DP will not be found there. NaVi pushing up to the top, but not getting him. And bottom lane, Sashlo, who's again going to push out this wave. And he's getting closer to that 25 too. The Aphotic Shield extra health is really, really good in spite of the nerfs that it received. And also almost has an Octarine core if he wants to pick that up.
Yeah, I like his build this game. At one point he was contemplating Radiance. I think that would have been like okay if you wanted to play more of the side lane game. But when push comes to shove, you're gonna have to take a team fight, you know, against NaVi's lineup to win, because they're not just gonna let you rat them to death. It's just not gonna happen. So
swap into Static Storm. That's a nice play. And now the turnaround swap. Oh, Rubik, he made the play. They pull back in. Crystallize. He pops the BKB. Dendy pops his BKB. They turn to fight Sashlo. Are they going to be able to bring him down? The force step away. Doom is there onto DP, but the Ghost is still going. They're trying to take him down low, and Crystallize almost dead. Yule Scepter stayed alive just barely, and he is eventually going to fall. Death Prophet is still living. Now the walk away. Static Storm, rather Kinetic Field is still down. It's catching these heroes, but do they have the damage that they need? Dendy trying to run. The blink out, the Doom is worn off as Dendy trying to get ran down here, but they able to escape. He just walked away from him.
Dude, LeBron Dota God. That was... I mean, that play literally salvaged the fight. They still lost. They lost the Razor, but man, that would have been so much worse if it got to go the way that that SM initially had wanted it to. And really, they only lost the ET and the Disruptor. So all things considered, that was a nice defense. The gold is still kind of climbing in Navi's favor, but man, I did not see that setup coming.
That was a sick one. I saw him lay down the Static Storm. I was like, what are they doing? I was like, oh god, it's awesome. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Hook shot in though, and now just trying to take a walk through the woods. We're gonna be punished. DP down.
Yeah, that was a double damage Shadow Fiend with 5 items. That boy's gonna hurt. He's gonna hurt a lot. He's got pretty much everything he needs really to high ground. I like his itemization this game. It's very old school. This is pretty much what you used to build on SF like every single game, regardless of the matchup. But it fits this game very nicely because all you really need to do is be able to hit, and you have a lot of heroes to enable you to do that. The Rubik Lift, the Clockwork into the cogs and such.
Everybody's talking about the Shadow Fiend builds nowadays, Yules, Aghanims, BKB. This is the indomitable force that walks into your lane and says, deal with me. He does only have a 5-second BKB. They have Static Storm again available if they want to use it, and there's the swap back in. They pull him in. Can they take him down? They use Howl this time. Nowhere for Denny to go, and they manage to find that kill. And now Lil trying to turn it. He actually blinked into the Earth Splitter. The Slashlow, Lil sceptered up and walking away. They buy back on Dendy, realizing that there is no other answer, but he has a long way to walk right now. As LeBron rooted. Are they going to try and go again? What? The buyback, dubious.
No, it's Roshan. That's why I bought back. It's 30 seconds.
Got it.
Yeah, they knew Roshan was going to be up very soon. They don't have the exact timer. I mean, we are lucky enough to have it, but they just kind of figured, it could be up right now. And if they decide to go for a push, they had not popped Ghost yet, and that would have been a Rosh that they would have taken for sure. So now they just want to pressure the lanes. They're probably not going to go for
Static Storm on 20 seconds. Still General chasing this one. They've already taken down the ET, and they're going to try and get the glimpse away, but he's dead.
I was going to say, I don't think Navi is going to try to siege the high ground right now because obviously the lanes aren't pushed enough, but, SM were nice enough to walk into the high ground. But again, look at the vision. Navi vision dominance the entire game. They see all 3 lanes. These wards were down like well before that team fight even kicked off. They knew literally exactly what they were walking into, and they establish an advantage again by taking the high ground. Good buyback from Dendy there. And the cool thing about it now is like before he used to not get any gold, but now you just farm. It's whatever for him. So yeah, really nicely done. They're going to get in the Aegis, no more swap shenanigans. They got double buyback. And oh no.
Yep, they had vision. He does still have his blink away in a second here, but the Yule Scepter lift up, is he actually going to be able to blink out of there? He does manage to get that one off. Another Yule Scepter lift up, trying to walk away. Nowhere left to go though, and Sashlo dead. Buys back now because they know they need that defense in a bad way.
Yeah, this SF hits for 450 damage and has almost 3,000 HP. You gotta have some way to deal with this. They're not gonna buy back on the Disruptor. Looks like they're okay stacking 1 lane, but keep in mind the bottom also does not have a tier 3.
Very scary, and as you mentioned, you can't fully commit there with the Static Storm because of the Aegis on SF. It's too difficult. They need to find a way to kill them before that comes out, which seems almost impossible. It's a full Octarine core coming in for the Abaddon, though, and he is level 25. So Shield currently healing up 425 HP is going to be 1 down. Now looking for the turn. They find the sleep, trying to deal whatever damage that they possibly can. Dendy down to half HP. Still holding on to Satanic. They swap back in the Razor. They get the ability. He steals it again. LeBron Dota makes it happen for his team. Dendy now trying to heal up from this one. His BKB has already been popped. Satanic down as well. The Doom comes out though on a DP, and she is gone in an instant. Meanwhile, Sashlo here just trying to salvage whatever he possibly can, but even General's starting to take them down. The buyback onto 2, they are going to be able to have a glimpse, and BKB down for Dendi. Do they get vision? They're just outside of the range though, and having already been used, they won't be able to pull somebody back in, and in fact, they're thinking about turning this back around. If they walk out too far, Lil could be there to go on the backline. He has a hoof stomp available. It doesn't look like they want to go for it though. And now Lil spotted out. Well, he's going to be punished for his insolence as he wanted to turn it, although maybe with Dendi coming back in now in general here as well. They have a hook shot back up in 4. NaVi still chasing. They managed to hold that bench in the cogs, and yes, they have indeed gone out too far as they're going to be able to pull that Abaddon away from the rest of his team. They're keeping control over this Disruptor as well, who has bought back into this fight. He does manage to get the TP away though.
Yeah, that just goes to show again, like the itemization on NaVi, how tanky this Doom is. He's got 30 something armor, you know, depending on if he's standing next to a hero that has like AC or not. And it's just all physical damage on this Radiant team. Like Satchel is eating some spells right now, but how much can they hold?
Static Storm down again, but Crystallize got the BKB off a little bit too late on the call, and now NaVi with nothing really stopping them at all. They do manage to bring down that Rubik, but now looking for more. Dendi might actually go down. No, he hits a pop and the Satanic turns to fight, back up to full HP. How can I doubt the guy? And he takes down everybody. The last one left is going to be the DP, but GG cold with a Dendi Ultra.
I gotta say, that was a much more exciting game than I was expecting. You know, that's my bad for underestimating SM, but they showed some pretty cool stuff this game. I was